exclusive inventory, fragmented tech, high minimums. Programmatic is built for the few, but advertisers need scale without the complexity. AdLib sits above it all, orchestrating activation, optimizing 24/7, 365, and giving you back 40% of the time spent juggling multiple DSPs and media partners. One login, every platform. No trade-offs. Go to getadlib.com, GETADLIB.com.
USAA knows dynamic duos can save the day, like superheroes and sidekicks or auto and home insurance. With USAA, you can bundle your auto and home and save up to 10%. Learn more and get a quote at usaa.com/bundle. Restrictions apply.
Getting refreshers, we're going to Disneyland. Not really, but we will spend a good chunk of time with the House of Mouse today. I'm Kate with Marketecture, and this is The Refresh, your weekly download on what went down in advertising. Today is Monday, August 11th, and this week on The Refresh, we're talking about Disney's earnings and their big ESPN NFL announcement, as well as Instagram's new features, and then a rapid-fire roundup of key headlines from this week that are smaller but just as mighty, and worth making mental note of. So let's get into it. Starting things off with the big story for this week, Disney's ESPN NFL deal. ESPN is acquiring full operational control of the NFL network, expanding its portfolio of live sports channels. As part of the agreement, ESPN also gets the right to distribute the NFL's RedZone channel to pay TV providers, but the league will continue to own and produce RedZone as well as NFL Films, NFL Plus, and the NFL Podcast Network. Alongside that, ESPN will acquire NFL Fantasy, giving them control over this fantasy platform and their own. In exchange, the NFL is acquiring a 10% equity stake in ESPN valued somewhere between $2.5 and $3 billion. That's a bold bet on ESPN's future, and it gives the league a meaningful voice in how its content is distributed across platforms. This deal sets a dramatic stage for ESPN's highly anticipated direct-to-consumer streaming service, which officially launches on August 21st. It'll cost $29.99 a month, and for the first time ever, fans will have access to all of ESPN's content, including the NFL Network, without a cable subscription. That's 47,000 live events per year available at the touch of a button. This is a watershed moment for both ESPN and the NFL. For the NFL, it offers long-term distribution security as more viewers cut the cord. For ESPN, it gives them premium content that can supercharge their standalone app, which is critical as the economics of cable continue to unravel. As Jimmy Pitaro, chairman of ESPN, put it, together, ESPN and the NFL are redefining how fans engage with the game, anytime, anywhere. The new ESPN app won't just be a stream of live games, though. It will also feature enhanced stats, betting integrations, fantasy football tools, personalized sports center feeds, short-form video, and even shopping. Disney CEO Bob Iger noted the NFL Network will be seamlessly integrated into the app, bringing 3 exclusive NFL games to the platform each season, plus full rights to the NFL Draft. Also worth noting, aspects of the deal could increase revenue for the league, with chair of the league's media committee, Robert Kraft, suggesting it could lead to higher salary caps and stronger negotiations with the players' union. Of course, the deal is still subject to regulatory approval, given it involves 2 of the most powerful players in the sports universe and a significant exchange of valuable assets. Approval is expected to take about a year. In other sports news, Disney also locked in exclusive streaming rights to WWE's premium live events in a $1.6 billion 5-year deal. Putting all of this into perspective, it's also important to keep in mind the moves Disney has been making behind the scenes to enable real-time programmatic transactions during live games, spearheading the next era of primetime sports advertising. Now, let's zoom out to Disney's broader earnings picture. Revenue for the quarter came in at $23.7 billion, up 2% year over year. ESPN generated $3.9 billion in revenue, but its operating profit fell 7%, largely due to rising sports rights costs. The company's traditional linear networks business took a hit, with revenue down 15% and operating income dropping 28%. The key culprits: cord cutting, audience erosion, and softer ad rates. On the other hand, streaming added some magic to Disney's earnings report. Their direct-to-consumer segment, which includes Hulu and Disney+, posted a $346 million profit, a huge swing from a $19 million loss the same time last year. Earnings from their streaming biz make 2 things very clear. Disney is all in on streaming profitability, and the ESPN NFL deal plus the Hulu integration are the most visible proof of that strategy in action. Speaking of Hulu, Disney confirmed that the platform will be fully integrated into Disney+ sometime in 2026 as a dedicated tile. All in all, Disney's making big moves to evolve into a leaner, streaming-first company by bundling content, owning more IP, and reinventing sports and the advertising opportunities they contain for the streaming age. Next up, Instagram dropped 3 new features, all of which are giving, I think I've seen this film before. The first feature, a repost tool that lets users share reels and grid posts from other accounts straight into their own feed. This is a clear dupe of TikTok's repost feature and makes you wonder if stories and DMs on Instagram will continue to be the preferred content sharing mechanism or if reposts will ultimately win user affection. As someone who uses this feature in TikTok, it's dead useful, and I like the way reposted content is inherently curated by accounts I follow and have already given a vote of confidence to. But I only use reposts for content I think would be enjoyed by or useful for everyone that follows me. The next feature, a location sharing map in DMs. Yep, this is Snap Map reincarnated. It's opt-in and shows where your friends were last active, plus geotagged content from stories like your friend's favorite brewery or buzzy events like music festivals. This feature rollout brought out the angry mobs, complete with pitchforks and plenty of misinformation, with the irony being that it was amplified by Meta's own algorithms. We don't necessarily have time to get into it here, but I think it's worth pausing a minute to evaluate the discourse that's been sparked around user privacy preferences, internet communications, information spread, and the value of brand trust when stepping into sensitive information territory. The last feature update Instagram announced was the ability to control visibility into how you and those you follow engage with Reels content through likes and comments. This will also be aggregated into a dedicated Friends section of the Reels tab. To me, Meta's product strategy continues to feel directionless and at times desperate, trying to be everything to everybody to pump engagement. A word that was mentioned 17 times on Meta's recent Q2 earnings call and which Mark Zuckerberg pinpointed as the driving factor behind revenue performance, stating, "There are two primary factors that drive our revenue performance, our ability to deliver engaging experiences for our community and our effectiveness at monetizing that engagement over time." For advertisers, content creators, and users alike, you will continue to exist in the world that Meta has built and play the game by their rules, because doing so benefits their bottom line. As part of this, Meta continues to play a powerful role in the lives and livelihoods of all those who use their platforms. For advertisers, consider how you can create strategies that withstand Meta's constant algorithm tweaks, sporadic feature rollouts, and prioritization of their own objectives, particularly when it comes to your relationships with and investment in content creators, whose reach and impact is particularly susceptible to Meta's whims. Alright, let's wrap things up by getting into this week's rapid-fire roundup. First up, we have Omnicom-IPG, who just cleared another regulatory hurdle on the path to their long-anticipated merger, this time with the UK's Competition and Markets Authority. They're still waiting on a few other approvals, including from the European Union, but an agency with the abbreviated name of OMIPG is getting closer to reality. In more good news for Omnicom, OpenAI has officially named PhD, an Omnicom subsidiary, as its agency of record. Next up, OpenX just sued Google, piling on in the wake of Google's landmark loss in their ad tech antitrust case versus the DOJ, and in maybe a happy coincidence, the release of our very own Ari Papero's book Yield, which chronicles the events leading up to and surrounding Google v. DOJ. What's that saying? Strike while the iron is hot? Moving over to the AI corner, Cloudflare just accused Perplexity's AI web crawlers of going undercover. According to them, Perplexity's web crawlers have been disguising their identity to get around protections meant to stop unauthorized content scraping. Perplexity claims it's just fulfilling user agent requests, but it's not the first time they've been caught seemingly using nefarious techniques to get at content, including busting past paywalls Kool-Aid Man style, ignoring robots.txt files, and sidestepping web application firewalls. And finally, to close things out, ChatGPT is getting more emotionally intelligent. OpenAI is adding mental health safeguards to help users who may be showing signs of distress or over-reliance on the chatbot. The updates include encouraging users to take breaks during long sessions, recommending evidence-based resources around sensitive or vulnerable conversations, and asking questions to help users unpack their circumstances rather than giving direct advice when people are clearly in emotional turmoil. All right, a lot of news coming down the pipeline for this week's refresh. Thanks for joining us, and we'll catch you next week.